author is Oscar Wilde, and the date of publication is June 20th, 1890. Some background of the story and the author is the book we are going to discuss is Oscar Wilde's book Dorian Gray. And Dorian Gray is an orphan who is the heir to a great fortune. Basil Hallward paints his portrait, and Dorian declares that he would give his soul if he were always to be young, and the painting would grow old instead.
I'm going to be talking about the plot, and I think that the major incident that begins like the major conflict, I think it was when Basil was killed. I chose this because it was kind of like the moment where we thought of that the Dorian that we knew, the innocent Dorian, was gone. And I also thought it was weird how after the fact that he was killed, how Dorian was kind of calm and seemed as though he didn't care. And I think the importance of the climax is immense because it's basically the highest point in the story, and it can be really captivating, and it will kind of ensnare the audience, and it kind of plays out what the story will be like in the future. My feelings about the resolution is I personally really enjoyed the resolution. I loved how it showed the true power of the painting when Dorian tries to destroy it with a knife, but it ends up killing him, and how the servants find him lying dead on the ground.
The character that we chose for the characterization was Sybil Vane. She grew up, her motivation in life was she wanted to be more rich because she grew up poor, and she acted to make her feel happy because she was pretty depressed. Like 3 adjectives that you might describe Sybil Vane with would be poor, beautiful, and talented. She changed, but how she changed was when Dorian Gray started to love her, and she got love, and she got loved by someone. Her acting performances changed drastically, and they weren't as good as they used to be. They got way worse. And if I was to cast Sybil Vane in a movie, the actor that I would do would be Jennifer Aniston, because she is a really good actress and has played roles somewhat similar to this in other movies. So I think that she would do a good job if she played Sybil in a movie over the picture of Dorian Gray.
So, some of the importance of a physical setting is really change the mood on how of the location, of what's happening in that location. Some of the more important locations that we found were like the theater where Dorian fell in love with Sybil Vane, and
the painting room was also very important to the story.
Some of the social settings and its importance in the novel and the social norms. Some of the social norms in the picture of Dorian Gray were different from now to where it was set in the book, because it was illegal to be gay in London during the 19th century, and there were hints of homophobia in the picture of Dorian Gray, and there was also people with guns in London, which is now illegal. Some of the main themes is, we think one of the main themes is the relationship between beauty and morality. I think this is because the main focus was about Dorian, and he was a beautiful person and innocent, but he couldn't decide between right and wrong, and in turn ended up on the opposite side of true beauty, which is like, which to me is someone who is able to discern between right and wrong. And
my personal my personal reactions to the book was like, what moment was most compelling for me was when Basil died, because he when it was kind of like the turning point for Dorian, but it was also sad because Basil wanted nothing for Dorian except to be a better person and a good person. And Dorian turned out to not be such a good person whenever he killed Basil. And though Basil always wanted the best for him, but I feel like Lord Henry persuaded him to be more towards that because of the pain. But the character that was most compelling to me had to be Dorian, because at the very beginning of the book, he was very innocent, and you were left wondering what his next decision was, like what he was going to do. But then as we got more towards the climax, we saw his true character, where he ended up killing Basil, and how he completely changed, and it didn't even really bother him. It didn't make him sad really that much. If I was going to make a soundtrack for the book, the songs that I would probably use would be the ones that the movie already had, because they were good songs, and I really feel like it fit the book well.
In conclusion, I think overall the book managed to change my perception on how powerful influence can be. Influence changed the entire course of the book, how Basil wanted Dorian to be a good person, and Basil didn't have enough persuasion or influence over Dorian, so Dorian, because of the influence of Lord Henry, became a bad person. He did some things that you wouldn't expect him to do earlier in the book. But overall, my opinion of the book is that it was really good. It showed me how much it showed how much a small thing could turn into be such a big thing in the story. So, in spite of that, I would give it out of 10. I would give it an 8 out of 10 because of the way it changed my perception.
Personally, I really liked the book. It was a good book in my opinion. I liked Oscar Wilde's writing style because it was very unique, and I've never read one of his books before. Also, the amount of imagery, epigrams, and all of that, including similes and metaphors, figurative language in the book, was really compelling. It really brought out it helped bring the story out truly to what it is. But if I was overall to rate the book, it would probably be a 7 out of 10. I just think the message of the book was really good and everything. Yeah. But Diego, what was the main compelling part of the book that, what made you think was the most important part of the book?
I think, me personally, I think it would be the power of influence and how someone so good can change and be someone like Dorian was at the end of the book just because of one bad influence, and how he handled that. We missed a point. There was what character we disliked. I disliked Lord Henry. I think he was a great addition to the story, and he was probably written for us to dislike him, but I just don't like how he manipulated someone for his own benefit. I just didn't like that. So what did you
overall for the book, I thought it was really compelling on how much the picture really meant and how it changed the whole points of the book. It went from really just nothing. You didn't really notice it until more towards the climax, when they got when there started to become wrinkles on his face and it started turning old, and the book really got old. But I really think the picture was the most important part of the book, in my opinion.
And that's all we have. Thank you.